How would you evaluate Gerald's performance since he's come back from his injury?
I think he's been okay. I think he's done some good things. Obviously, he's not 100%, and his conditioning is not where it needs to be. But I think he's done some solid things for us.
As a team, Jeff, I mean, how much does Miami, in some ways, maybe kind of epitomize sort of the unpredictability or the openness of the conference this year, where you maybe look at their records, and I think overwhelming, but when you see them play, like I mean, it's a good team. How much?
Yeah, I mean they're good. If you look at if you just look at their record in the league, they're 1-3, but it's two losses to Louisville and other losses to Duke. I think a lot of people would lose to those teams. Um, they're a good team, and because of those guards and how dynamic they are, I think they can beat and compete with anyone. This is a team that went into Illinois and really were kicking them pretty good. And I think Illinois is a very good team and a great conference in the Big Ten. And they were able to go there and win. They were able to beat a good Temple team on a neutral court. So, there are a lot of good teams in our league this year. I think, everyone's having a field day kicking the ACC, but it's probably because North Carolina's not dominant. Duke still is. Louisville's still really good. But because maybe they're a little bit down or some other teams, it's still really good teams in this league, and Miami's one of them.
Coach, what does your process look like in moving on from a big road win like that to make sure it doesn't linger?
Yeah, that's a great question and something that's really important. We gave them off yesterday. You have to have your mandatory day off. I didn't do it Sunday, and so we gave off yesterday, and today we went through our normal process of going through feedback from the game and talking about it, and then we move on to the next play and start preparing for Miami. But it's important, just like we were able to move on from Wake Forest, it's important to move on from this. And you can't, same thing with Wake Forest, you can't listen to the outside noise. You have to focus and concentrate on what's going on, the task that's at hand, focus on the mission, and do everything you can to prepare for that.
Along those lines, just the routine, it seems now, you got a trip to Miami after being down in Carolina, and you come back, you play at home. How much do you monitor the guys, just how they react in that
Well,
situation?
yeah, you monitor everything now. Practices are a little bit shorter because the games are coming at a much more frequent pace. You're maybe not doing as much physical contact in practice. It's a lot of mental stuff. Trying to protect bodies, trying to protect guys to play a lot of minutes, but you want them to be mentally sharp, during the whole time. I've always felt, even as a player, one of the toughest days of practice is after a day off, and I especially feel it that way as a coach. Um, just getting back in the routine of competition, of physicality. When we give guys a day off, we want them to be off, to get away from it. And then when you come back, it usually takes a day to kind of get back in the rhythm of competition. And I thought guys were solid today. I think we'll be a lot better tomorrow.
On Wednesday, Jeff, we didn't get the chance to really talk with you about it just after the euphoria of that game. But with your new contract extension, how did that process, I guess, come to be? And I guess how did it can start? Was as like simple as one day Heather approaching or reaching out to you about it?
Yeah, well, it's something that I'm incredibly grateful for. Chancellor Gallagher and our athletic director, Heather Like, they believe in what we're doing, in the way that we're doing it, and wanted to extend an offer. And it's something that we didn't hesitate on our end to accept. I think it shows commitment from both sides. I think it shows commitment from them, from the university and the administration and the athletic department, and their belief in what we're doing. And I think it shows our, belief in what we're doing, our belief in them, our belief in the city of Pittsburgh, and our belief in having an opportunity to build a great program here. And so I'm excited about it. I'm grateful for it, and look forward to creating something special.
Jeff, do you feel like that sends maybe a message to your team now, potential players in the future, that this is a long-term deal for you, it's a long-term commitment for you? Does that maybe get kids to buy in a little bit more, do you think?
Well, I don't think it does that for our guys here. I think that's already, going on. But I do think for, potential recruits, for parents of potential recruits, it does signal that this place is committed. And I think the university and athletic department, they've done a lot of things since I've been here to signal that as well, whether it's facilities, stuff they've done there, locker room stuff, obviously in the Pitt, our office area. There are a lot of exciting things that are going on. And I think, the contract extension, signals it from both sides that we're both committed to doing something and feel like we can do something special here.
Jeff, when you were first talking with the leadership here a couple years back when they were trying to bring you on, I figure during that pitch process there are probably any number of things that they tell you in terms of what they can do for you. How has your experience here so far matched, I guess, what you were presented during that process?
Yeah, it's been again one of the reasons why I felt like this was the right opportunity for me was because of Chancellor Gallagher and Heather. I believed in them. I believed in their vision. I believed in their commitment to what it's going to take and them understanding what it's going to take in order to turn this thing around. And they've done that. They followed through on everything that we've talked about, everything we talked about on that day, that night, a couple of days before that. And then, and then some since we've been here. So there have been some things that have come up since we've been here that we've talked about, and they've been committed to it. So it's been good.
Coach, Justin has shown a really unique, maybe not unique, really good ability to kind of find soft spots in the defense, particularly along the baseline. Seems like he gets a baseline dunk every game. How impressive is that for a freshman to just show that IQ of knowing, exactly where to attack and when?
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. He's had some really great moments as a freshman so far this season. And, the thing that we're trying to help him to do is to become consistently good. It also helps that his teammates have found him in those spots, and they look for him. I think his teammates have a lot of confidence in him in those spots. And so, we want to continue to help him develop and continue to help him grow and to learn more about the game, to learn more about the preparation and the work that it takes to become a really, really good player. And, he has a chance to do that, but the really, really good players are consistently good. And that's the next step for him is to try to find the balance to do that. Not the balance, to try to find the understanding of how to do that.
It kind of flies in the face of that consistency, but is it almost good in a way to see him open a game ice cold and just stick with his shot and find it halfway through?
No. I'd rather for him to make them early and make them throughout.
See a confidence change in the second half, though? Your guys wanting to make those big shots and take them?
Well, I thought in the second half the biggest thing was our energy. I thought that changed everything. I thought it ignited us and it connected us. And I thought it started on the defensive end, and I thought that carried over to the offense. Obviously, when the ball goes through the basket, that gets everyone more excited, so we saw some shots go through the basket. But I thought we did a really good job of sharing the ball, finding the open guy, making the extra pass, and guys stepped up and made big plays for us.
And to have it happen on the road in a place like that, too.
Yeah, right now to have it happen anywhere, but certainly to have it happen on the road was big. I mean, that's kind of been the elephant in the room in this league that we haven't won one, and so you can't say that about us now. Now the challenge is to go and do it again. And we have a great opportunity on Sunday to do that, but we have to do it. It's not just going to happen, just like it just didn't happen there. We made it happen, and we have to understand, what it takes to do that and have the discipline to be able to go out and do it.
And early on, when you were talking about practice, you see that now in the practice?
Well, I mean, it's been one day, so again, I thought guys were excited today, but we'll see. It's not something that you see right away. We'll see. I think we've practiced hard all year, and I think we've had a good attitude But we have to have the right attitude moving forward and understand the requirements of becoming a good team. And that's showing up every day at a high level.
When you compare those kind of traditional point guard skills, when you look at Xavier, how does he compare, passing, decision making, ball handling? How does he compare beginning of the season to where he is right now?
I think he's definitely gotten better from the beginning of the season. X struggled early, and I think he's gotten better. I think he's maybe not putting as much pressure on himself. I think he's just settled in and focused on leading this team, being a good practice player, creating those habits, winning habits. I think he's learned through adversity, through failure, and he stepped up and been big for us.
Trey's coming off a game where he had a career high eight assists. How much, and his assist average is almost double what it was last season. How much of an emphasis in the offseason and I guess in these early months here has there been on him, I guess, being more of a playmaker, more of a facilitator, someone who can be a point guard if X is off the court or in foul trouble?
Yeah, it's not even about being a facilitator per se. It's about just making the right play, whatever the play is. And sometimes that's a drive all the way to the basket. Sometimes it's a pass. You have to be able to read defenses and understand what they're trying to do and then to adjust to it and to make the play that's in front of you. And I thought he did an outstanding job of that against North Carolina. And he mixed scoring because he had 24 points, but he really did a good job of attacking and finding open guys and just making simple plays. And for both he and Xavier, because those are the two guys that do that for us, it goes hand in hand. I mean, they have to understand, when I say they, all of them, how much they need each other. And that's something we've been talking about since the beginning of the season. Our guys need Xavier and Trey to create for them. Those are two guys I think that they can be difficult to keep out the paint. They're strong. They can drive it. They can get fouled. They can put pressure on the defense. And if they're making shots from the outside, those two, then they're even a little bit more difficult to guard. They have to understand that they need Justin knocking down shots or finishing plays inside. They need Murphy knocking down shots. They need Eric and Terrell and Kareem to ball screen and to rim run hard and to put pressure on the rim and to finish if they have opportunities down there. And if we're doing all of that, which we had that in the second half, then we can be a good offensive team. But they need each other. And that's why when a guy's open, you got to be able to hit him. Because if you do that, that opens up the drive where it's a minute and 11 and Trey can drive in and get an and-one dunk. I don't think it's any coincidence we had hit several threes in that half where that opens it up. Just like I always go back to the first game against Florida State. Justin had made a couple of threes. Murph had made a couple of threes. Now at the end, Xavier is able to hesitate. The guy doesn't help, and he goes in and gets an and one. And so that's the biggest thing for us, for Trey and for X and for everyone to understand how much they need each other.
Jeff, what have you come to expect with Jim Larinaga's teams? Is there a blueprint that he has typically? And obviously he's been very successful wherever he's been.
I think he's been successful because of his ability to adjust and adapt, to whatever type of team he has. I don't think any team is the same. Even if you bring back, a bunch of guys, which they have several guys, especially their perimeter, they're different because either they've gotten better or if they've stayed stagnant, then they're not better. And so I think his ability to adjust. They're going to be well coached. They're going to have a really outstanding game plan. They're a team that game plans for, like whatever opponent they're playing. They're going to have really good guard play. They're going to put you in a lot of ball screens. And they're going to give guards freedom to make plays. And I think he has three outstanding guards that start. He has a couple of guys that come off the bench, I think, that are good. Two young guards, two freshman guards that are good and they're going to be really good. But those three that start are very, very dynamic. And, we have to be prepared to do a good job of playing them and try to do a good job against them.
Down in Chapel Hill, X was telling us that after the Wake Forest game, you shared a clip of The Lion King with him. I think earlier this season it was Rocky you shared with him. Do you have a running list of movies or pop culture?
Well, I have some just things. I mean, I don't have a bunch of stuff saved in my phone, but I have stuff that, if I see something or think of something that I think would be appropriate or could help someone, on our team to help them to understand something maybe a little bit differently, or that's a message that you're trying to get across, and periodically I'll share it with an individual or team.
Did you see or think that the message got through to him?
I did. I thought it was appropriate, and I thought I know he appreciated it after I sent it, and I think it helped. I hope it helped.